We're going to be talking about the Amazon ordered a God of War series. So before we get into it, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notifications. I'm just doing this obviously for the clips, but everybody in the chat, we're going to jump into it. So for the God of War series, I know Tony was saying that this was a rumor, but this is not a rumor because it was reported by Deadline. They're obviously in talks, which means that it's not 100%, 100%, but once Deadline, Hollywood Reporter and, the major trades come out and say, hey, they're in talks to do this, I'm going to take it as official news. And what a news was this, because I was not expecting whatsoever a God of War series by Amazon. So, what's your kind of initial thoughts on this for Gary and Tony?
Gary, you want to go
Yeah,
first? Or you want me to jump into my thoughts?
I'd be all for it. It's been a while since I've played the series. I was more of a fan back in the day. Obviously, not a don't have the PlayStation. Not have been a big God of War fan lately. I hear a lot of good things about the newer games. But depending on where they go, are there any kind of is there any speculation as to where they would go with it? Are they going to go with like, the like how the late, because the later games are more formed around him being like older, right? This is like, I'm not sure how it pans out, but
from my understanding, the fact there hasn't really been any confirmation of what it's going to be. If this is going to be based on the original God of War games, where it's Kratos against the Greek Roman gods. But from what I'm gathering and based on just the thumbnail of Deadline's article, I think it's going to be the newer series, which focuses on the Nordic side of that series.
Right, which is kind of what I was going to say, because if they do like the whole tried and true thing, I mean, obviously a lot of people are familiar with that mythology. It would be nice to see them maybe spin it in a direction that hasn't been covered in a book or stuff like that before. I mean, they have a lot of stuff to draw from, and if they go with any early stuff, I mean, obviously, as long as the quality's there, as long as the casting's right, they do it right. I think that's it's a good series to go with. I think God of War is a really good fit.
Yes, and this is coming from, I guess, the Expanse creators, which I haven't really watched that show, but I heard it's really good. It also seems like there's some executive producers from the recent Wheel of Time series. So obviously this does seem like, hey, they're moving forward. Obviously Amazon has a Fallout series in the works, and they're also supposedly adapting Mass Effect, although there hasn't been an official word out if they're going to pick it up. So I thought this was really interesting for a series.
And I really think that, like, it's better to, like, we talked about BioShock a couple of weeks ago about that, Netflix turning that into a movie. And I think doing these games as a series opposed to a movie is just the better fit.
Yeah,
because you can tell a better story, as long as it's still focused. So
my only issue, and just to play devil's advocate, is I was really expecting this to be a movie. Like, if you're going to do God of War, the thing is, God of War as a game, at least the 2018 one, is very emotional, personal story about Kratos and his son, and their relationship, and obviously dealing with Kratos's past. And that's obviously a big deal. This, even though it is called God of War, there's no God of War 4, or there's no subtitle. So it kind of appears like it's a reboot, but it's not. It's a complete continuation. And so it is a little bit weird that you would make a series about that game instead of the first game, right? I understand that this game is obviously extremely popular. A lot of people say it's one of the best games of all time now, which I can understand. But personally, it's good, but I wouldn't say it's the best game of all time.
Well, not to lose any more cred that I've lost already by admitting things here on the channel, but I've never played a God of War game, so I'm not familiar
Oh wow,
with the franchise. But that said, I don't know necessarily you could say that it's going to be based on the newer game as opposed to the original game, just based on the screenshot used by Deadline, because they're going to use the newest game, just because it's probably easier to get a screenshot from that than dig up some old, low def screenshot from fucking God of War 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the reason why I even though I was just saying that yes, they are using the thumbnail, I also just think based on that game, it feels like it's more like the other games are good, but I wouldn't say that the story is like the main focus. So it would be kind of like it would be interesting to see them adapt it, but at the same time, those games are more focused on gameplay. Well, I feel like this new game is very much like you can remove the gameplay elements and it could just play out exactly like a story, right?
Right.
So
And that's kind of what
that's kind of what I'm leaning toward.
So again, I've not played any of the games. Just going off of what you're saying, and I would think the best route they would go would be make it based on the newer game, but have flashbacks to major moments from the previous games, since it's a lot more action focused. So he's having like traumatic, PTSD type flashbacks, and you're getting like, hey, he's attacking Ares or whoever the hell he fights in the other series. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just personally think this came out of left field. I heard that there was scripts being passed around for a movie for quite some time. So, and I feel like kind of my main concern with this is that I mean, there's obviously someone attached to the Wheel of Time series with this, and I feel like it could easily become like a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time kind of looking series. And
I don't think it's really out of left field though, because Sony's making a big push to take their video game franchises and make them into movies and TV shows. You got Uncharted just came out.
I mean more left field as in instead of making it a movie, because I think this would have been better as a movie, just personally speaking.
They got Last of Us is making a movie on HBO Max.
Or a TV show. That's a TV show.
Yeah. Well, Ghost of Tsushima, I know that's going to be a movie.
Be a movie, yes.
There's supposed to be like a metal,
Twisted Metal series.
Uncharted
that would
came
be
out.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then there's also going to be working on the Twisted Metal.
No, he's talked about it before. He said that they consult with him and he gives his blessings, but he's not fully involved with that series.
Because the first two were the only really two games that I liked in that series.
Mm-hmm.
Like the story just went off the rails by Twisted Metal 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure what direction they're going to go with that show. I know that there's probably going to make a Horizon. I assume would be a movie. Like if they came out like in a couple weeks and say we're making a Horizon TV show, that would shock me, because again, it just doesn't feel like that seems extremely expensive for a TV show. Like The Last of Us and Twisted Metal kind of make sense, right? You can easily make it budget friendly, but sorry, hold on.
I see. I think it's kind of foolish. I think something like Horizon's a little too early. I think something like God of War is a better fit, right? Because you have a better, you have a bigger fan base.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're making a movie, we were saying this before, you shouldn't be banking off of the fan base to watch it. You want to appeal to a broader audience, or else the movie's going to get bad reviews.
No,
If
I
the movie
understand that.
is so, well, that's what I'm saying. So don't even worry about which game has a better audience or a broader, you know what I'm saying, a bigger game sales, as it were. Just worry about which one would make a better series,
Yeah,
and just work it that way.
yeah,
I think out of
that
all,
makes sense.
I think out of all of them, I would say God of War has probably the best chance. Just because sci-fi doesn't do too well, does it?
It does pretty
Not
well.
really.
I mean, I guess it
Straight
matters.
sci-fi, not really. Like maybe Marvel, or if you attach some type of brand, it usually does well. But like Blade Runner did not do well. Dune did okay, but it's not like,
Yeah, but
crazy
Blade Runner,
numbers.
they really shouldn't have made a new Blade Runner. What was I say? But God of War, if it's not rated R, I don't think it's going to do well. If it's like watered down.
Well, I think maybe that's why they made it into a series, because if you do a big budget rated R movie for God of War, it probably would have not done well at the box office. So I thought that was, oh my God, my dog now just broke character. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of I don't know, personally, I'm interested in this. I liked the God of War 2018 game, but like I said, it's not like the best game of all time. It made sense to do a series, and there's obviously a lot of interesting stuff that you can do, especially because the whole series is taking from Norse mythology lore, right? And so there's a lot of speculation on, because I don't really want to get into spoilers for that game, but there's obviously significant stuff with Kratos' son, and obviously if you're going based on this, the mythology, his son has to do something that kind of means he would turn on his father. And I'm not going to get into,
well, see, and this is why I say if we're gonna go the route that Tony suggested and not appeal to more of a broader audience and not focus on the the fan base of the games, I there's so many ways they could go with the God of War series that they might as well just do it that way and kind of leave the games out of it. At least that's how I see it. And that's why I say I think God of War has the best chance, because again, we are talking about mythology, and this character has been around for hundreds of years. I mean, it's been written about so to death. So it's something that they really could win on in this series. Either they're going to do two things, right? I think they're really going to either appeal to the fan base of the games. And I think that can be a win if it's done right, but I think their better option is to kind of make it their own and focus on a story that hasn't been told so much.
So he could fight like the Egyptian gods or like the Aztec gods.
So
I think they're going to do that.
Yeah, I think they really have. I think this could be, out of all of them, like you said, we got Mass Effect. I don't know if those are just rumors, Mass Effect in the Fallout series, but
well, the Mass Effect is mentioned in the Deadline article, so I guess it is somewhat official.
And the way I see sci-fi, I just really think like a lot of people are into that mythology, so I definitely see the God of War series really hitting a home run here. And then just the way that they could shoot that and make that movie look. That seems like that's kind of been a trend in the last like 10, 15 years. Movies like that with I mean, I'm drawing a blank on the recent movies that are like that. But like you said, Game of Thrones type stuff. I could definitely see it going that route, and it would definitely be something I'd really want to see.
Yeah. I'm interested, and I hope that it's good, and I hope they also take from Ragnarok, because that is supposedly going to be the end of the story. They're not going to do a trilogy, so we'll see how things turn out, I guess.